What is up, YouTube? What is up, Jet Nation? Sean back with another episode on the JETS Jet Show. If you like the content, subscribe, share, like the show. I love hearing your guys' thoughts on my videos, my content, and what I have to say. I want to thank the new subscribers out there because there's a bunch of them. I really appreciate that. It's going to help the info get out to a lot more people. So, with that being said, we're doing the Jets schedule. My analysis, my thoughts are, my predictions, and obviously let me know what you think in the comments. Love to kind of discuss the differences I have with some other people out there, and see what we think the Jets are going to do this season. So obviously we're starting off with the Ravens at home, 1 o'clock. This is going to be a tough one, guys. I expect the Ravens to bounce back. They had a ton of injuries just like the Jets last year. They drafted really well. They have a great front office. They're always developing players and developing talent. I expect them to have a bounce back year and really push the Bengals for the title of the AFC North. And it's going to be tough on the Jets to contain Lamar Jackson. We always seem to have a little trouble with running quarterbacks. And I know we're a new look team at this point. We've made a lot of changes, but until they prove it on the field that they can, maintain and corral a running quarterback, I am not going to go, I'm not going to, think that it's not going to happen to us again. So, until we prove it on the field. That being said, I do think the Jets will compete in this game. I do think they'll keep it close. I think, they're going to want to come out and start this season with all this hype, all this energy. The stadium's going to be, going crazy. So, I do think it's going to be a very good and competitive game, and I do think the Ravens are going to win it late. Week 2, we are on the road against the Browns. I do have this as a win for a lot of different reasons. I'm not sold on the skill positions outside of running back on the Browns. Deshaun Watson, whether he plays or not, I know it's likely that he's not going to be playing, which is even better. But if he does play, he hasn't played in over a year. That's going to have an effect. I mean, it's going to take him. I'm sure it's going to take him a few weeks to get in the rhythm, especially with a new offense and a new offensive, a new team, new players, everything like that. So, I do have the Jets winning that game. Coming back home against the Bengals, and this was a tough one for me. My heart wants to say we're going to win this game, but my brain tells me we're not. I love the Bengals. I think they're a great football team. I do think we actually match up better against them than when we do the Ravens. But I can't. We kind of took them by surprise last year when we beat them. So it would be pretty tall order for us to beat them again. They're not going to be sleeping on us this year after we beat them last year. So I do have us losing to the Bengals. The Pittsburgh Steelers, Week 4 on the road. This is another one that I think a lot of people are a little bit, debating a little bit. Playing in Pittsburgh's very difficult, but we are playing in the beginning of the season. It's not super cold. You're not going to have crazy weather. They're going to have a new quarterback. That's in the Jets' favor. Ben Roethlisberger's not there anymore. They do have a phenomenal roster outside of that, but the quarterback's a big question mark. And I think with a lot of the changes we've made, both offense and defense, I do think we are going to go in there, and I do think we can come out of this game with a victory. So we are 2-2 through the first quarter of the season, and now we are coming home for the Miami Dolphins, and I think this is another win. I think we're going to split with the Dolphins, and I guess the most logical way to do this is to go, the home team wins, and that's what I think we'll have here. I am worried about the, Waddle and Tyreek Hill and our secondary covering those guys. But I do think Sauce and DJ Reed are going to play well enough where they're going to limit the amount of big plays that those guys make. And, we were really competitive against the Dolphins last year. And our roster is a million times better than it was last year. So I do think we win Game 5 at home against the Dolphins to put us to 3-2, and then we go on the road to the Packers, and this is definitely a loss. Despite the fact that they're playing in England the week before, And despite the fact they've lost a whole bunch of weapons on their offense, Aaron Rodgers is amazing. He's probably the greatest quarterback I've ever seen play. And, it's tough to win in Lambeau. 3-3 going on the road again, back-to-back weeks against the Broncos, and this is definitely a loss. We struggled against the Broncos last year. It's tough playing in Mile High. They got Russell Wilson now. That team is ready to take a big jump, and if they want to compete in that division, it's going to be very hard for the Broncos to compete in that division. So they have to win games. All of the games they play against, any teams that are, I would say middle of the road or lower half of the league. So they're looking at the Jets at home as a must-win with the difficulty of their schedule. So we're now 3-4, and we're coming home for the Patriots, and I do think this is a win. I am really confused about what the Patriots are doing. I have no idea. Bill Belichick, I think, is getting, he might be getting a little dementia or something up there in New England, because I don't understand any of his moves and what he's doing with his roster. But then again, he is one of the greatest, if not the greatest coach of all time. So that being said, I do have the Jets winning the day before Halloween at home to go to, 4-4. 500 heading into a home game against the Bills. And I do have this as a loss. So heading into the next game, we're home against the Bills, two home games in a row. I do think this is a loss. The Buffalo Bills, I think, are still the class of the division, and I don't think our young roster is going to quite be ready to overtake them quite yet. But I do think it's going to be a really good game. I do expect it to be a one-score game in the late and end of the fourth quarter. Week 10, we have a bye, and off the bye, we're going to New England, and I feel good coming off a bye and playing a New England team that, like I said, I'm not sure what they're doing. So we're going to hit 500 right after the bye, get back to 500, 5-5, with a win in New England, and I'm ecstatic about that. We haven't won any division games in 2 years, so beating New England twice and their biggest rivals, that is a huge deal. So we're now 5-5 after 11 weeks, and this is where the schedule kind of turns. I think we have a shot to make a run at this point to claim a wild card spot. So we are then coming home for the Bears, which I have a win. I'm not sold on the Bears at all. I'm not sold on Justin Fields. I think that's one team that I really don't have any idea what to expect from this season. So I do have that as a win. Then we're going to be on the road against the Vikings and the Bills 2 weeks in a row. I'm chalking both of those up as losses. I think, obviously, we've talked about the Bills. We're going to lose to them at home. We're probably going to lose to them on the road, obviously, too. But the Vikings, I think they're going to have a little bit of a bounce back year. They got off to a rough start last year, had a bunch of injuries. Their weapons are phenomenal. Justin Jefferson is going to be amazing. Superstar in this league long term. So, and their defense is really good as well. They have a good, solid pass rush, and they made some good draft selections on the defensive side of the football. So I do have that as a loss as well. So we are now 5-6. 5-6. We are home 2 weeks in a row now. We're home for the Lions and home for the Jaguars. There's no way we lose in either of these games. I think we're just way, way, way significantly better than both of these teams. Although I do like some of the things Detroit Lions have done. I like the coaching staff. I like the moves they're making. I don't think they're even close to ready to making a move to be super competitive. So I do have us winning at home against the Lions. And then we do get to toss around the quarterback that got drafted before Zach Wilson. I'm sure Zach's going to love beating him up and beating him 2 years in a row. At that point, we're going to be finishing off the season with 2 road games. Not exactly the way you want to finish the season, 2 road games, especially one being in Seattle, flying across country. But I have to say, Seattle is a shell of what they used to be. And then heading down to Miami, I do think this is the game. The Miami game is going to be the game to decide what happens in the playoffs. I think that game could get flexed to Sunday night. I think it's actually highly likely that it does, because I think both of these teams are going to be right on the edge, the cusp of the playoffs at the end of the season. So